Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Discovery, watching the stars through the main window. This was humanity's first journey beyond their solar system. After 300 years of dreaming about space travel, humans had finally built ships that could move faster than light. Jake felt proud to be the first human to see these distant stars up close. The Discovery had been traveling for 6 months. Their mission was simple: explore nearby star systems and look for signs of life. Earth scientists hoped to find planets where humans could build new homes. The ship carried 50 crew members, including the best scientists and engineers from Earth. Dr. Lisa Carter worked in the ship's laboratory, studying samples from the planets they visited. She was Earth's top expert on alien life, though she had never actually seen any aliens before. Most days, she examined rocks and soil from empty worlds. She often wondered if humans were alone in the universe. Everything changed on a Tuesday morning. Lieutenant Ben Turner was monitoring the ship's sensors when something appeared on his screen. It was huge, much bigger than any human ship. The object was moving toward them at incredible speed. "Captain Morrison, you need to see this," Ben called out. His voice sounded worried. Jake hurried to the sensor station. The screen showed a massive ship, at least 10 times bigger than the Discovery. It had a strange design, unlike anything humans had ever built. The ship was dark gray with sharp edges and glowing lights. "Where did it come from?" Jake asked. "It just appeared, sir. 1 second there was nothing, then this ship was there. It's like it came out of nowhere." Jake felt his heart beating faster. This was first contact with alien life. Every human had dreamed of this moment, but Jake had never expected it to happen during his mission. The alien ship moved closer. It was so large that it blocked out the stars behind it. Jake could see smaller ships flying around the big one, like insects around a light. The Discovery looked like a toy compared to this alien vessel. "Captain, they're sending us a message," the communications officer reported. "Put it on the main screen," Jake ordered. The screen flickered, then showed an alien face. The creature had gray skin, large black eyes, and no hair. It wore a dark uniform with strange symbols. When it spoke, the words came through in perfect English. "I am Ambassador Veltar of the Zephyrian Empire. You will listen carefully to what I tell you." "Humans," Jake stepped forward. "I'm Captain Jake Morrison of the United Earthship Discovery. We come in peace." The alien's face showed no emotion. "Your peaceful intentions are irrelevant. I bring a message from the High Command of the Zephyrian Empire. Your species has been found and judged." "Judged for what?" Jake asked. "For your worthiness to exist. The Zephyrian Empire has ruled this galaxy for over 1,000 years. We have brought order to chaos, civilization to primitive worlds. Your planet Earth has been selected for inclusion in our empire." Dr. Carter had joined Jake on the bridge. She listened carefully to every word the alien spoke. "What does that mean exactly?" Jake asked. "It means your species has 30 of your solar cycles to surrender completely to Imperial rule. You will open your planet to our forces. You will provide workers for our projects. You will give us your resources. You will obey our laws. In return, we will allow your species to continue existing." Jake felt anger rising in his chest. "And if we refuse, then your species will be eliminated. Your planet will be destroyed. Your cities will burn. Your people will die. We have done this to over 200 species across the galaxy. All chose to resist. None survived." The alien's words were spoken without emotion, as if he was talking about the weather. This made them even more frightening. "You're talking about genocide," Dr. Carter said. "We are talking about order. Primitive species always resist at first. They think they are special, that they can fight against the Empire. They are always wrong. The strong rule the weak. This is the natural law of the universe. Jake looked at the alien ship on his screen. It was clearly far more advanced than anything humans had built. How could Earth fight against such power? We need time to think about this, Jake said. You have 30 solar cycles. Use them wisely. Study the records we are sending to your ship. Learn what happened to the other species who chose to resist. See their empty worlds, see their ruined cities. Learn from their mistakes. The alien's image disappeared. Immediately, the Discovery's computers began receiving massive amounts of data from the alien ship. The information contained records of planets across the galaxy, before and after the Zephyrian Empire conquered them. Jake watched the data stream across his screens. Every file showed the same pattern: first contact, ultimatum, resistance, and total destruction. Planets that had been full of life were now empty wastelands. Cities that had stood for thousands of years were now piles of rubble. "Captain, we need to return to Earth immediately," Dr. Carter said. "The government needs to know about this." Jake nodded. "Set course for Earth. Maximum speed." As the Discovery turned toward home, Jake thought about the alien's words. 30 days to decide the fate of humanity. Surrender and become slaves, or fight and face extinction. Neither choice seemed acceptable. The journey home took 3 days. During that time, Jake and his crew studied the alien records. They learned about the Zephyrian Empire's history of conquest. They saw how advanced alien civilizations had fallen in hours once they chose to resist. The Zephyrians had weapons that could destroy planets. They had ships that could travel across the galaxy in days. Their technology was thousands of years ahead of humanity's. Fighting them seemed impossible, but Jake also noticed something else in the records. Every species that surrendered had suffered terribly. The aliens stripped their worlds of resources. They took the strongest people as slaves. They left the conquered planets as empty shells. Surrender meant a slow death. Resistance meant a quick one. Neither path offered hope. When the Discovery reached Earth, Jake immediately contacted the government. Within hours, every world leader knew about the alien ultimatum. The countdown to humanity's decision had begun. 20-7 days remained. President Daniel Hughes sat in the emergency meeting room deep under the White House. Around the table sat the most important people on Earth. Military leaders, scientists, and politicians had gathered to decide humanity's fate. The alien ultimatum had arrived 3 days ago, leaving 27 days to make an impossible choice. Admiral Patricia Wells spoke first. She was the head of Earth's Space Navy, though her ships seemed like toys compared to the alien vessels. "The numbers are clear," she said. "We have 18 ships capable of space combat. They have thousands. Our weapons are primitive compared to theirs. Fighting them would be suicide." General Ryan Brooks shook his head. "So we should just give up? Hand over our planet to aliens who will turn us into slaves? I've seen the records from their conquered worlds. Surrender is just a slower way to die." Dr. Sam Rodriguez had been studying the alien technology for 3 days. He was Earth's best weapons scientist, and even he felt overwhelmed by what he had seen. Their ships use energy shields that deflect all known weapons. Their hull materials are stronger than anything we can build. Even their smallest ships could destroy our largest cities. Senator Helen Davis had been quiet during most of the meeting. She led a group of politicians who believed surrender was the only option. "We have to think about saving lives," she said. "If we surrender, at least some humans will survive. If we fight, they will kill everyone." Captain Jake Morrison had been called back from space to attend the meeting. His ship, the Discovery, was now Earth's most experienced vessel in dealing with aliens. "I've read every file they sent us," Jake said. "Every species that surrendered was eventually wiped out anyway. The aliens use them up, then throw them away. We're not choosing between life and death. We're choosing between dying now or dying later. The argument continued for hours. Half the room wanted to surrender. Half wanted to fight. President Hughes listened to every opinion, but he knew the final decision would be his. While the leaders argued, the rest of humanity learned about the alien threat. News reports showed the alien ship recordings. Scientists explained how advanced the enemy technology was. Religious leaders prayed for guidance. Parents held their children closer. Public opinion was divided. Protests filled the streets of every major city. Some people carried signs that said surrender now and save lives. Others carried signs that said never give up and fight for freedom. The entire world watched the countdown timer on every news channel. 24 days remaining. Colonel Amy Jackson commanded Earth's ground forces. She did not attend the political meetings. Instead, she began preparing for war. Even if the politicians chose surrender, Amy believed the aliens would attack anyway. She had read the same files as everyone else. No conquered species had ever been treated well. Amy ordered her soldiers to begin building underground bunkers. They moved weapons and supplies to hidden locations. They taught civilians how to fight. Amy knew that if the aliens landed on Earth, the real war would begin on the ground. Dr. Rodriguez worked day and night in his laboratory. He studied every piece of alien technology he could find. The alien ships were incredibly advanced, but they were not magic. Everything had weaknesses. Rodriguez just had to find them. On the fourth day, Rodriguez made a discovery. The alien energy shields operated on a specific frequency. All their technology used the same power system. It was efficient and powerful, but it had one weakness. If that frequency was disrupted, their shields and weapons would fail. Rodriguez called Jake Morrison immediately. "I think I found something," he said. "Can you come to my lab?" Jake arrived within an hour. Rodriguez showed him computer models and energy readings. "Their shields work like a bubble around their ships," Rodriguez explained. "But if we can create the right kind of interference, we can pop that bubble." "How do we create this interference?" Jake asked. "Fusion reactors. If we overload our power plants in a specific sequence, we can create massive electromagnetic pulses. The pulses would disrupt their shield frequency." Jake studied the data. "What would happen to our cities if we overload the reactors?" Rodriguez looked grim. The reactors would be destroyed. Large areas would lose power for months, maybe years. But their shields would fail for several minutes. "Several minutes might be enough," Jake said. "If we can disable their shields, our weapons could damage their ships." "It's dangerous," Rodriguez warned. "If we're wrong about the frequency, we lose our power grid and gain nothing." Jake thought about the alien records. Every conquered species had tried to fight with conventional weapons. None had tried anything like this. "Keep working on it," he said. "We might need this option." Meanwhile, engineer Katie Thompson worked with Jake's crew to prepare Earth's small fleet. They installed every weapon they could find. They reinforced the ship hulls with extra armor. They practiced attack formations and emergency repairs. Katie knew their ships were no match for alien technology. But humans had one advantage the aliens did not expect. Humans were willing to sacrifice themselves for others. Katie began designing ramming attacks. If human ships could not win with weapons, they could win by crashing into enemy vessels. The political debates continued. Senator Davis organized the Submission Coalition. She argued that cooperation with the aliens was humanity's only hope. Her supporters held rallies in major cities. They showed pictures of destroyed alien worlds and asked if Earth should suffer the same fate. Colonel Jackson organized the resistance movement. She believed that freedom was worth any price. Her supporters prepared for war. They stockpiled food and weapons. They built hidden shelters. They trained for guerrilla warfare. Public opinion shifted back and forth. Some days, more people supported surrender. Other days, more people supported resistance. The poll showed the planet was almost evenly divided. President Hughes received reports from around the world. Other nations were making their own preparations. Some countries built underground cities. Others focused on space defenses. A few even considered surrendering separately from the rest of humanity. But the aliens had been clear. They wanted the entire planet, not just part of it. Individual surrender was not an option. On the 10th day, something unexpected happened. The alien sent another message. Ambassador Veltar appeared on screens around the world. His message was simple and terrifying. "We have been monitoring your debates," the alien said. "We know your species is divided. Some wish to surrender, others wish to fight. We will help you decide." The alien ship moved closer to Earth. It stopped just outside the planet's atmosphere. Then it fired a single beam at the abandoned city of Detroit. The entire city vanished. In a flash of light, leaving only a crater of melted rock. "This is what resistance brings," Veltar said. "You have 20 days remaining. Choose wisely." The demonstration had the opposite effect the aliens expected. Instead of increasing support for surrender, it made more humans angry. The aliens had just murdered a human city to make a point. Even people who supported surrender began to reconsider. President Hughes watched the polls change. For the first time since the crisis began, a majority of humans supported fighting back. The alien attack had reminded everyone what they were really facing. These were not peaceful conquerors. They were destroyers. Hughes made his decision. Earth would not kneel to alien masters. The planet would fight, regardless of the odds. He called a press conference for the next morning. 19 days remained, and humanity had chosen war. The 30 days were over. Admiral Kethron stood on the bridge of his massive flagship, watching Earth through the viewing screen. He had conquered 47 worlds in his 400 years of service to the Zephyrian Empire. Earth would be number 40-8.keth, single quotes Ron had never lost a battle. His fleet of 3,000 ships had crushed every enemy they faced. The humans were primitive creatures who had barely learned to travel between stars. This would be the easiest conquest of his career. "Admiral, the human planet is not responding to our final surrender demand," his aide reported. Kethron was not surprised. Most species tried to resist at first. They always thought they were special, that they could somehow defeat the mighty Zephyrian Empire. They were always wrong. "Begin the demonstration," Kethron ordered. "Target one of their major cities. Something that will make them understand their situation." The massive alien fleet moved into position above Earth. Their ships blocked out the sun over major continents. People in cities around the world looked up and saw the dark shapes hanging in the sky like storm clouds. Captain Jake Morrison stood in the command center buried deep under the Rocky Mountains. Around him, screens showed the alien fleet positioning itself for attack. Earth's 18 combat ships waited hidden behind the moon, ready for their desperate mission. "Dr. Rodriguez, are the fusion reactors ready?" Jake asked. Sam Rodriguez checked his instruments one final time. "All power plants are connected to the network. When you give the signal, we can overload them in sequence. The electromagnetic pulse should disrupt their shield frequency for approximately 4 minutes. 4 minutes, Jake repeated. That's all the time we have to hurt them." Colonel Amy Jackson watched from her underground command post. Her soldiers were hidden in bunkers and tunnels around the world. The aliens would probably win in space, but if they tried to land on Earth, Amy's people would be waiting. President Hughes stood in the White House bunker with his advisors. The final moment had arrived. Earth's choice was made. They would fight. The alien flagship charged its main weapon. The beam that had destroyed Detroit now aimed at New York City. 8 million people lived there, though most had been evacuated to underground shelters. "Fire!" Admiral Kethron commanded. The energy beam struck the city. Buildings melted like ice in fire. The harbor boiled away. In seconds, one of Earth's greatest cities became a crater of glass and metal. "Humans of Earth," Kethron broadcast. "To the planet below, this is your final warning. You have 1 hour to surrender completely. If you do not, we will destroy every city on your world." The message was received in the command center. President Hughes looked at Jake Morrison. "Do it," the president said. Jake activated the fusion reactor network. Around the world, power plants began overloading in perfect sequence. The process could not be stopped once it started. Half of Earth's cities would lose power for months. But if the plan worked, the alien shields would fail. Dr. Rodriguez watched his instruments carefully. The electromagnetic pulse was building exactly as his calculations predicted. "Pulse generation beginning," he announced. "Shield disruption in 30 seconds. Above Earth, the alien ships continued their approach. Admiral Kethron was confident. No species had ever found a way to penetrate Zephyrian shields. The humans were about to learn why the Empire was invincible. The electromagnetic pulse reached maximum strength. Invisible waves of energy swept through space around Earth. The pulse hit the alien fleet like a silent explosion. On every Zephyrian ship, warning lights began flashing. Shield generators sparked and failed. Weapon systems went offline. For the first time in 4 centuries, Admiral Kethron's fleet was vulnerable. "What is happening?" Kethron demanded. "Admiral, our shields are failing across the entire fleet," his aide reported in panic. "All defensive systems are offline." Jake Morrison smiled grimly. "Launch all ships, begin attack run." Earth's small fleet emerged from behind the moon at maximum speed. The 18 human ships were tiny compared to the alien vessels, but now the aliens had no shields to protect them. Captain Ben Turner commanded the U.S. Defiance, humanity's newest warship. He had volunteered for the most dangerous mission of all. "This is Defiance beginning ramming attack on flagship," he announced over the radio. Ben aimed his ship directly at Admiral Kethron's massive vessel. The Defiance was loaded with every explosive device Earth's military could provide. It would be a one-way trip, but Ben was proud to make the sacrifice. "All power to engines," Ben ordered his crew. "We're going to show these aliens what humans are made of." The Defiance accelerated toward the alien flagship. Kethron watched in disbelief as the small human ship approached at ramming speed. Number species had ever attempted such a desperate attack. "Stop that ship," Kethron ordered. "Weapons are still offline, Admiral. Shields are not responding." The Defiance struck the flagship's hull at tremendous speed. Both ships exploded in a ball of fire visible from Earth's surface. Admiral Kethron, the Empire's greatest military commander, died in the explosion along with Ben Turner and his brave crew. Other human ships pressed their attack. Without shields, the alien vessels were surprisingly fragile. Earth's primitive weapons tore through alien hulls. Human pilots crashed their ships into enemy vessels, trading their lives for maximum damage. Jake Morrison commanded the attack from the U.S. Vengeance. "Target their weapon systems first," he ordered. "Don't let them fire on the planet." The battle lasted exactly 4 minutes. When the electromagnetic pulse ended, alien shields came back online. But the damage was done. 12 Zephyrian ships had been destroyed, including the flagship. 8 human vessels were also lost. But their sacrifice had achieved the impossible. For the first time in galactic history, a primitive species had damaged a Zephyrian fleet. The surviving alien ships retreated beyond Earth's moon. Their new commander, Admiral Zexhai, could not believe what had happened. The humans had found a way to disable their shields. No species had ever done that before. "Send an emergency message to the High Command," Zexhai ordered. "Request immediate reinforcements." These humans are more dangerous than anticipated. Dr. Carter had been monitoring alien communications during the battle. She translated the intercepted messages with growing excitement. "Jake, you need to hear this," she called. Jake listened to the alien transmissions. The enemy was calling for help. They were afraid of humanity's weapons. For the first time since the crisis began, Jake felt hope. "They're scared," he said. "We actually scared them." The news of Earth's victory spread quickly around the planet. Cities that still had power celebrated in the streets. The impossible had happened. Humanity had struck back against their alien oppressors, but Jake knew this was only the beginning. The aliens would return with more ships and better preparations. Earth had won the first battle, but the war was far from over. In his underground laboratory, Dr. Rodriguez was already working on improvements to the electromagnetic pulse system. The aliens would adapt their shields to resist the frequency disruption. Humanity needed new weapons and new tactics. Colonel Jackson received reports from around the world. The alien retreat had given her time to prepare better defenses. Underground bunkers were expanded. Weapon stockpiles were moved to safer locations. Civilian populations continued their evacuation to hidden shelters. The fusion reactor overloads had plunged half the planet into darkness, but human spirit burned brighter than ever. Earth had answered the alien ultimatum with violence and defiance. The galaxy's greatest empire had been bloodied by a species they considered primitive. President Hughes addressed the world from his bunker. "Today we proved that freedom is worth fighting for," he said. "The aliens expected us to surrender or die quickly. Instead, we showed them that humans do not give up easily." The battle had cost many lives, but it had bought humanity something precious: time and hope. The aliens would return, but now they knew Earth would not be an easy conquest. Deep in space, emergency messages raced toward the Zephyrian home worlds. The Empire's military commanders learned that humans had destroyed a fleet admiral and damaged an invasion force. This had never happened before in their long history of conquest. Emperor Zalfek himself received the news. He had ruled the galaxy for over 1,000 years. No species had ever successfully resisted his forces. The humans were becoming a threat to the entire imperial system. The Emperor made a decision that would change the fate of the galaxy. He would personally lead the largest fleet ever assembled to destroy Earth completely. The human rebellion would end and their world would burn as an example to others. Earth had won the first battle, but the real war was just beginning. News of Earth's victory traveled faster than light across the galaxy. On 17 different worlds, enslaved populations learned that someone had finally fought back against the Zephyrian Empire. For the first time in centuries, hope flickered in the hearts of the conquered. On the water world of Trappist-1E, the aquatic deeplings had served as slave laborers for 50 years. When they heard about Earth's battle, something changed in their large, dark eyes. That night, they began poisoning the water supplies that fed the alien military bases. The rocky planet Kepler 442b housed the reptilian Voltans, who had been mining precious metals for their conquerors for over a century. The news of human resistance sparked coordinated strikes against imperial mining facilities. Explosions lit up the night sky as Voltan rebels destroyed equipment and supply depots. Emperor Zalfek received reports of rebellion from across his empire. In his 1,000 years of rule, nothing like this had ever happened. One primitive planet had shown others that the mighty Zephyrian Empire could bleed. The Emperor stood in his throne room, a massive chamber carved from black crystal. His advisors trembled as they delivered the bad news. Rebellions were spreading. Production was falling. The Empire was weakening. "This ends now," the Emperor declared. His voice echoed through the chamber like thunder. "Gather the largest fleet in our history, every available ship, every planet-killer weapon. I will personally lead the final assault on Earth." The Imperial shipyards worked day and night. 5,000 warships gathered at the staging area near the galaxy's core. Planet cracking. Weapons were loaded onto the largest vessels. This fleet could destroy entire solar systems. On Earth, 3 months had passed since the first battle. The planet was a world at war. Major cities remained dark from the fusion reactor overloads, but factories worked around the clock to build. Weapons and ships. General Ryan Brooks had taken command of Earth's military forces. He knew the aliens would return with overwhelming numbers. Earth's victory had been a surprise attack that would not work twice. "We need new tactics," Brooks told his staff. "The aliens know about our electromagnetic pulse now. They will find ways to defend against it." Lieutenant Chris Parker was one of the new volunteer pilots. He had joined the Space Force after watching the alien destruction of New York. Like many young humans, he was willing to die for Earth's freedom. "General, what about kamikaze attacks?" Chris suggested. "Captain Turner proved that ramming works when their shields are down." Brooks nodded. "We're training pilots for exactly that mission, but we need more than suicide runs. We need to be smarter than them." Dr. Sam Rodriguez had spent 3 months improving Earth's weapons. His new electromagnetic pulse generators were smaller and more powerful. They could be mounted on ships or hidden in space stations. "The aliens will adapt their shields," Rodriguez told Jake Morrison. "But I have been studying their technology more carefully. Their power systems have other weaknesses we can exploit." Jake examined Rodriguez's latest discoveries. "What kind of weaknesses?" "Their ships are powered by exotic matter reactors. Very efficient, but also very unstable. If we can overload one reactor, it could cause a chain reaction through their entire fleet." Engineer Katie Thompson had designed new attack formations for Earth's expanded fleet. Humanity now had 37 combat ships, built in hidden factories on the Moon and Mars. The ships were still primitive compared to alien technology, but they were fast and hard to detect. "We cannot win a direct battle," Katie explained to the fleet commanders, "but we can use hit-and-run tactics. Strike hard, then disappear before they can respond." Colonel Amy Jackson had transformed Earth's ground defenses. Underground cities now housed millions of civilians. Hidden weapon depots were scattered across every continent. If the aliens tried to land, they would face a planet-wide guerrilla war. The second invasion began on a cold morning in December. Emperor Zolthek's massive fleet appeared at the edge of the solar system like a dark cloud. 5,000 ships moved toward Earth in perfect formation. Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UE's Vengeance, now upgraded with Rodriguez's latest weapons. Around him, the small Earth fleet prepared for battle. They were outnumbered 100 to 1, but they had advantages the aliens did not expect. "All ships, maintain radio silence," Jake ordered. "Wait for my signal." The alien fleet approached Earth slowly and carefully. Emperor Zolthek was taking no chances. He had studied the first battle and made preparations for human trickery. "Scan for electromagnetic pulse generators," the Emperor commanded. "Destroy any fusion reactors that show signs of overload." The alien ships began bombarding Earth's surface. This time, they targeted the power plants first. Massive energy beams struck fusion reactors around the world, preventing another electromagnetic pulse attack. Dr. Carter watched from the command bunker as alien weapons destroyed the reactor network. "They learned from our last attack," she reported. "The pulse generators are gone." But Rodriguez had prepared for this possibility. "Activate the mobile generators," he ordered. Hidden throughout the solar system, small spacecraft began powering up special weapons. These were not fusion reactors, but compact electromagnetic pulse devices. They had been waiting for 3 months for this moment. The pulse hit the alien fleet from multiple directions. Once again, Zephyrian shields failed across thousands of ships, but this time, the aliens were ready with backup systems. Secondary shields online, Admiral Zexai reported to the Emperor. The human pulse weapons are losing effectiveness. Emperor. Zalthek smiled coldly. Begin planetary bombardment. Show them the price of resistance. The alien fleet opened fire on Earth's surface. Cities that had survived the first attack vanished in balls of fire. The bombardment was systematic and merciless. The aliens intended to turn Earth into a lifeless. Jake Morrison launched the human counterattack. All ships, execute Rodriguez Protocol. Target their reactor systems. The Earth fleet attacked in small groups, using the asteroid belt for cover. Human ships were equipped with special missiles designed to penetrate alien hulls and overload reactor systems. Lieutenant Chris Parker led a squadron of 6 ships against a group of alien destroyers. Remember, aim for the reactor core, he told his pilots. One good hit can take down an entire ship. Chris's missile struck perfectly. The alien destroyer's reactor overloaded, causing a massive explosion that damaged 2 nearby ships. The chain reaction Rodriguez had predicted was beginning to work. Across the battle zone, human attacks focused on alien power systems. When one reactor exploded, it often caused failures in other ships. The aliens found their own advanced technology working against them, but the human fleet was taking heavy losses. 20 ships were destroyed in the first hour of fighting. The aliens had learned to protect their reactors better, and their numbers were overwhelming. Major Nicole Gray commanded ground forces in North America. The alien bombardment had missed her hidden bunkers, and now enemy landing craft were approaching Earth's surface. Let them land, Nicole ordered. We want them on the ground where we can fight them. The first alien troops landed near the ruins of Chicago. They expected to find a devastated human population ready to surrender. Instead, they found carefully prepared ambushes. Human soldiers used tunnels and underground passages to attack alien forces from unexpected directions. The aliens were used to quick surrenders after orbital bombardment. They had never faced enemies who continued fighting after their cities were destroyed. The battle for Earth raged for 6 days. In space, Jake Morrison's remaining ships continued their hit-and-run attacks. On the ground, Amy Jackson's forces made the aliens pay for every mile they advanced. Emperor Zalthek grew frustrated as his losses mounted. His fleet was winning, but the cost was enormous. No conquest had ever been this expensive. Admiral, we have lost over 800 ships, Zexai reported. The humans are destroying 3 of our vessels for every one they lose. The Emperor's anger boiled over. I do not care about losses. Activate the planet killer weapons. We will destroy this world completely. But as the massive weapons charged, something unexpected happened. Dr. Carter had been monitoring alien communications throughout the battle. She had learned to decode their military frequencies. Jake, the rebels are making their move, she announced. Uprisings are starting on 47 worlds. The alien military is being recalled to deal with rebellions. Across the galaxy, enslaved species were following Earth's example. The Deeplings had seized 3 water worlds. The Vultans controlled 2 mining systems. Dozens of other species were striking at alien installations. Emperor Zalthek faced an impossible choice. He could destroy Earth, but doing so would require keeping his fleet here while his empire burned. The human resistance had become a galactic revolution. The Emperor made his decision. Withdraw all forces. We return to crush these rebellions. As the alien fleet began to retreat, Jake Morrison could hardly believe it. Earth had survived the second invasion. The planet was scarred and millions had died. But humanity endured. The real victory was not on Earth, but across the galaxy. The galaxy. Human example had inspired others to fight for freedom. The Zephyrian Empire, built on fear and intimidation, was crumbling as that fear finally broke. Emperor Zalthek returned to his home world to find his empire in chaos. Rebellions burned across 47 star systems. Species that had been slaves for centuries were destroying alien installations and freeing their people. The mighty Zephyrian Empire was falling apart. The Emperor gathered his remaining military commanders in the Crystal Throne Room. Many of his best admirals had died fighting humans or rebels. The faces around the table showed fear instead of confidence. How many systems have we lost? The Emperor demanded. Admiral Nexver checked his reports with trembling hands. 17 systems are completely under rebel control, my lord. 30 more are experiencing major uprisings. Our forces are stretched too thin to fight everywhere at once. The Emperor's rage filled the chamber. For 1,000 years, his empire had been unstoppable. Now primitive species were destroying everything he had built. It had all started with one small blue planet. Gather every remaining ship, Zalthek ordered. We will return to Earth and end this rebellion at its source. When Earth burns, the other species will lose hope and surrender. But the Emperor's admirals brought more bad news. My lord, we have only 3,000 ships remaining. Many were lost fighting the humans, and others are trapped defending our remaining worlds. Meanwhile on Earth, humanity was not sitting idle. The planet had survived 2 alien invasions, but the cost had been enormous. Half the world's cities lay in ruins. Billions of people lived in underground shelters. But human spirit remained unbroken. Dr. Sam Rodriguez had been working on his greatest project yet. Deep beneath the Colorado mountains, he was building a network of quantum-linked fusion reactors. These were not ordinary power plants, but weapons capable of creating electromagnetic storms across entire star systems. The quantum cascade system is almost ready, Rodriguez told Jake Morrison. But using it will have serious consequences for US too. Jake studied the technical reports. What kind of consequences? The quantum field will destroy all advanced electronics in the solar system, including our own ships and computers. We would win the battle but cripple our own technology for years. President Hughes had been replaced by President Sarah Walsh after he died in an alien bombing. She faced the same impossible choice that had haunted her predecessor. If we don't use this weapon, the aliens will eventually destroy us anyway, she said. Captain Jake Morrison now commanded the largest fleet Earth had ever built. 112 ships had been constructed in hidden shipyards throughout the solar system. They were still no match for alien technology, but human tactics had improved greatly. Colonel Amy Jackson's ground forces had transformed Earth into a fortress planet. Every major landmass was covered with hidden bunkers, weapon depots, and underground cities. Even if the aliens conquered the surface, the real war would continue underground. The final alien fleet arrived at Earth 6 months after the second invasion. Emperor Zalthek had come personally to witness humanity's destruction. His 3,000 ships darkened the space around Earth like a metal storm. But this time was different. The Emperor was no longer fighting just humans. Ship crews included warriors from 12 different rebel species. The Deeplings had sent their fastest vessels. The Vultans provided heavy assault craft. Other freed worlds contributed weapons and supplies. This is Admiral Jake Morrison of the United Earth Defense Force, Jake broadcast to the alien fleet. You are not welcome in this system. Leave now and we will let you go in peace. Emperor Zalthek laughed when he heard the message. Foolish humans. You think your little alliance can defeat the empire that has ruled the galaxy for 1,000 years? The Emperor opened communications to all rebel worlds. He wanted everyone to see what happened to those who defied him. Watch carefully as I destroy Earth completely. This is the fate of all who resist imperial rule. The alien fleet moved into attack formation. This time, Zalthek would not make the mistake of holding back. Planet killer weapons charged to full power. The Emperor intended to crack Earth like an egg, But as the weapons powered up, Dr. Rodriguez activated his quantum cascade system. The linked fusion reactors deep in Earth's crust began overloading in perfect sequence. The reaction built slowly at first, then accelerated beyond all control. "Quantum cascade initiated," Rodriguez announced. "All personnel take shelter immediately. Electromagnetic storm in 60 seconds. The cascade effect spread outward from Earth like an invisible explosion. Quantum energy disrupted every piece of advanced technology it touched. Alien ships found. Their systems failing one by one as the storm swept through space. What is happening to our ships?" Emperor Zolfek demanded as his flagship's lights flickered and died. "All systems are failing, my lord," his aide reported in panic. "Weapons offline, shields down. Navigation systems not responding." Across the alien fleet, 3,000 advanced warships became helpless metal hulls drifting in space. Their crews were alive, but their ships were dead. The quantum storm had stripped away all their technological advantages. Jake Morrison watched the alien fleet go dark. "All ships, begin attack run. Remember, they cannot fight back." The human fleet charged into battle against helpless enemies. Earth's primitive weapons tore through alien hulls like paper. Ships that had seemed invincible just minutes before exploded under human fire. Lieutenant Chris Parker led his squadron against the Emperor's flagship. "This is for New York," he said as his missiles struck the massive ship's hull. The flagship exploded in a brilliant fireball. Emperor Zolfek, ruler of the galaxy for 1,000 years, died in the burning wreckage of his ship. With his death, the last organized resistance of the Zephyrian Empire ended, but the quantum cascade was not finished. The electromagnetic storm continued spreading outward, reaching every ship in the solar system. Human vessels also lost power and drifted helplessly in space. On Earth's surface, every computer and electronic device stopped working. The planet was plunged into a technological dark age. Cars would not start. Phones went silent. The lights went out everywhere. Dr. Rodriguez had known this would happen. "We have won the war," he said from his underground bunker, "but the victory will cost us decades of progress." Yet even as Earth's technology died, something wonderful was happening across the galaxy. News of the Emperor's death spread faster than the quantum storm. On every enslaved world, remaining alien forces surrendered or fled. The Deeplings of Trappist-1E declared their independence. The Vultans of Kepler 442b formed their own government. Dozens of other species threw off the chains of imperial rule. The Zephyrian Empire collapsed completely in a matter of weeks. Dr. Lisa Carter monitored alien communications from her battery-powered radio. "Jake, you need to hear this," she called. "Representatives from 43 worlds want to meet with Earth's leaders." 3 months after the final battle, the first Galactic Liberation Conference was held on a space station orbiting Saturn. Representatives from every freed world gathered to discuss their future. Jake Morrison, now promoted to Admiral, spoke for Earth. He was amazed to find himself addressing beings from across the galaxy. "We did not fight for conquest," he told the assembled delegates. "We fought for freedom. That freedom belongs to all of us." The conference established the Galactic Federation of Free Worlds. Unlike the old empire, this alliance was based on cooperation instead of domination. Each world would govern itself, but all would work together for mutual defense and prosperity. Earth became the symbolic capital of the new federation, though the planet was still recovering from the quantum cascade. It would take years to rebuild the technology that had been lost, but humanity had gained something far more valuable. Colonel Amy Jackson, now General Jackson, oversaw the establishment of the Federation Defense Force. "We must make sure no species ever tries to build another empire," she said. "Freedom requires constant vigilance." Dr. Rodriguez worked on repairing Earth's technology while also developing new systems that could resist quantum storms. "We will be stronger when we rebuild," he promised. "The next time we face a threat, we will be ready." The galaxy had been transformed. Where once a cruel empire had ruled through fear, now dozens of free worlds worked together in friendship. Trade replaced tribute. Cooperation replaced conquest. On Earth, children learned about the Great War in their history classes. They heard about brave humans who chose to fight impossible odds rather than live as slaves. They learned that freedom was worth any price, and that even the smallest spark could light the greatest fire. Admiral Morrison stood on the observation deck of the new Earth Defense Station, watching ships from dozens of worlds arrive for the Federation's annual meeting. Humans, Deeplings, Vultans, and other species worked together as equals. Earth had answered the Galaxy Empire's demand for submission with Inferno. From the flames of that cosmic war, a new age of freedom had been born. Humanity had not only saved itself, but had become the catalyst for liberating an entire galaxy. The stars no longer belonged to emperors and conquerors. They belonged to the free peoples of the galaxy, united in their determination that tyranny would never again rule the cosmos.